patrolled aid posts and raced in to fight thugs who were bashing starving women and children out of the way so they could steal and resell life-saving provisions. For me, Australia's reputation for civilised soldiering, for toughness and fairness, held up. I was inspired, somewhat romantically, I admit, by a belief that Australian Major General John Cantwell had expressed in an interview with me. There is something about the Australian character that is suited to the things soldiers are asked to do. The soldiers saw my belief in what they were doing, so to some degree I was trusted. Of course, I would remind them that I would report bad behaviour if I ever saw it. But nobody took much notice of that because nobody expected it to occur, especially in front of a camera. The goodwill I enjoyed among the soldiers was probably equal in strength to the misgivings about me within the ranks of my fellow journalists. There were plenty in the news business who were convinced I'd been captured by the Australian Army. Some saw me as a flake, a flunky, major masters of defence public relations. The great Dr. Johnson believed that every man thinks meanly of himself for not having been a soldier. Perhaps I was an example. During my embed, I saw only a little of what would later initiate some searching questions. It was mainly that quick glimpse of hatred in the eyes of Afghans before they were blindfolded and brought back for questioning. Yes, I was admiring, but not to the degree of suspending scepticism, a critical attribute in the armoury of any journalist. What really counted was that the soldiers' trust in me led some of them to share their concerns. Not all at once, but over time. The irony is unmissable. While plenty of reporters had set out to uncover war crimes, the first team to do so was not so narrowly focused. This is another feature of investigative journalism. Revelation rarely comes in a blinding flash. It is usually a graduated light of truth that steers you along an unanticipated path. When my first book covering Australian operations in Afghanistan, Uncommon Soldier, was published in 2012, it included references to the famous soldier Ben Roberts-Smith. At the time, I checked my text with him and he asked for some amendments. The action in 2006 that had earned him a medal for gallantry I described in my book as follows. On the 2nd of June, Ben Roberts-Smith was forced to fight for his life when his observation post came under attack from two flanks. He split and manoeuvred from his team, catching 16 approaching enemy in the open. Roberts-Smith took them on with his sniper rifle, attracting accurate return fire but holding the enemy off for the 40 minutes it took for air support to arrive. What I wrote fell short of a more complete truth. I had not depicted it as a war crime, but this incident, atop a barren mountain range in southern Afghanistan, would trigger the largest war crimes inquiry in Australian history. Chapter 1, 2nd of June 2006. The observation post, OP, folded them seamlessly into the dry dirt. 2 Australian soldiers were concealed behind rocks, wearing desert camouflage and bush hats. The mission was classic SAS. Part of a 6-man patrol, they were on a mountain called Korangar, watching the Chora Valley below and reporting enemy movements. They were to avoid going loud and maintain concealment. The troopers were well trained. They could endure this for days. Piss in a bottle, chew dry rations, and concentrate. This was their 2nd day. Their muscles were still strained from lugging 70-kilogram packs up the steep slope in what was a 10-hour haul the night they arrived. Many years later, throughout the marathon defamation court battle, they would be anonymised as Person 1 and Person 2. We will refer to them as the Redhead and the Sig. Both were new to the regiment, the latter a qualified signaller specialising in radio communications. Behind them, occupying a lying-up position, LUP, or defensive fighting post, were the 4 other members of the patrol. A British sergeant from the Special Boat Service, SPS, an American Special Forces radio operator, specialising in providing aerial combat support, and a